Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great start to the new year. I wanted to come on here and finally talk about the two Sojourners that I finally purchased. I showed both of these in my last video. It was my 2019 planner and journal lineup. So I wanted to just delve into this further with you guys. I have not purchased before now because I have this kind of weird hang up about the maker's mark being on the front of the notebooks. I believe I'm in the minority in this because I don't really hear many people talking about it, but I just kind of been conditioned, I think, to have the bottom right corner reserved for my own personal inscriptions. So it's just taken me a minute to get over having somebody else's initial on the front. And it's an R, which is the initial for Rowena, the woman and creator behind Sojourner. So I saw a video of hers and she explains why she has this there. And it just has to do with her taking responsibility for this creation and any good and any bad that comes along with it. So it's a really respectable reason. I totally get it. So this is just a hang up of mine that's basically just personal preference. But I did tell myself that if a Sojourner was ever offered in a leather that allowed this maker's mark to blend in, that I would go for that leather. And so this is the Mizpah, and this is the standard size folio, and this is the Hobonichi Weeks sized folio. So this leather was offered, but then it sold out really quickly, so I didn't get a chance to get one. But it's recently been back in stock, and I believe it's still in stock now, but it's very limited. I think she said she only had a couple of hides. So I went ahead and just got two, and I'll talk mainly about this one. So this is housing my Enigma notebook from Taroko shop on Etsy. And I'm just using this for my daily journaling. All I do in here is recount the events that happened during a particular day. And as you can see, it just, well, this was an A5 size and I had it cut down to standard at FedEx. So it fits beautifully in here. I just absolutely love this. It is just it's my ideal setup. I just really, really enjoy it. And this leather is so thin that the cover, it feels like it's part of the book. You know, this just feels like one whole piece. And I've not experienced that with any other covers that I have. And I love that quality of this. And what I've done is my go-to Uniball Signo gel pen. It is just a match made in heaven with this leather because it is such a thin leather. The clip of this just goes on there so beautifully. It doesn't warp the clip at all. And I just love being able to have my pen with my setup if at all possible. And I was just so happy to figure this out the other day, and I love the outcome of this. So I will take the notebook out so that I can kind of dive into the leather a bit more. But Rowena's design aesthetic is to be very simple, minimal, lightweight, and extremely travel friendly. So what I've picked up is that she typically goes for very lightweight and thin leathers. And holy moly, this is, I'm pretty sure this is the thinnest piece of leather that I've ever owned. I could not believe what a low profile this Mizpah leather has. It is just, it's insane to me. And that, you know, and that's the reason why it works with this notebook so well and acts like a second skin to it, basically. So in keeping with her design aesthetic, this has 3 card pocket slots on the right side here. And as you can see, they're just slits in the leather. It's not like there's another piece of leather to bulk this up, you know, to create the pocket. And there's a lot of little design details in here that just make the work so quality to me. Just like she has these little circular cutouts at each end of the slit, and it just helps reinforce that edge that would carry a lot of stress from being pulled on a lot. And I really appreciate that, you know, that just helps keep the integrity of the leather. And this, you know, as you can see, it's got a narrower full-length pocket here, and then this full-length pocket is wider. And I don't have any other folios or notebooks that do this, where they have, you know, different widths on each side. They've always been the same. And I'm not sure why that is. I'm just assuming that, you know, this piece will use less leather, and so that's in keeping with having a lighter weight notebook. But in any case, I don't have any problems with that. I think it's cool. And this leather is just gorgeous. You know, I'm a sucker for like Chic Sparrow's Mavericks with all of the bright crackling and things all over it. So, you know, this is obviously right up my alley. So I watched Bree from Documented Journey talk about the Mizpah that she has, and there she mentioned that the cracks on here, they are actually raised a bit. You know, it's got a little bit of an indentation and then some raised areas. So you can actually feel these. They're not very deep at all. But I loved that this was not just like flat color on here where it was like just painted on. I feel like it gives it more character that these are actual wrinkles in the leather instead of just a color variation. So I really think this is such a lovely piece of leather to have. And another thing is that the stitching on this, well, first of all, it's impeccable. I mean, it's straight as an arrow. I love that it's this brown color that's not so garishly contrasting to the brown of the leather. So you can see it and appreciate, you know, the stitch work and how straight it is, but it's not the first thing that's going to jump out at you. So I think that was a really great choice. And also the stitching size. It's so tiny and it's so much smaller than any other of the notebooks that I have from any other maker. And I believe I've heard Rowena talk about maybe that this has a smaller stitch because it works better with that whole quality of this leather being so thin, that having a big stitch would feel a bit off. And I totally get that. I get where she's coming from with that explanation and with this choice. I love that this has the smaller sized stitching on it. I do feel like it goes better with such a thin leather like this, and it just feels like it's going to hold together better. And then also, I never noticed this when I looked at anybody else's, but where the two pieces of leather are joined, there's a double stitch there. And I think that's fantastic. That was a quality that I really appreciated from Maker South. I noticed that they had a double stitch right there at this possible stress point. And the Sojourners, well, mine at least, have that. And I think that is absolutely fabulous. So I can tell that there has been a lot of thought put into the design of these. And I just love how simple these designs are. And if you're looking for minimal, simple, and lightweight, then Sojourner is going to be your jam. So I knew I wanted to get standard size because standard size is like my go-to size. It's my favorite. Pretty much when I'm trying anything new, I'm going to try it in a standard. And what I wanted to also do was try it in this Hobonichi Weeks size. And you can see the difference in the markings on these. This one has bigger, thicker, more bold markings on it, where these ones look finer. I don't think that I have a preference. This might have a slight edge for me personally. But I do usually keep a Hobonichi Weeks in a Chic Sparrow weekly calendar cover. And those have the belly band, you know, the elastic closure. This one obviously doesn't. And I was attracted to this because I wanted to check out a weekly cover design that was unlike the one that I have, which, you know, is the Chic Sparrow version. So this doesn't have the elastic closure. It doesn't, you know, it's not a traveler's notebook, so it doesn't have an internal string. It's strictly made to just keep the Hobonichi Weeks in without a cover on cover. So I did have to kind of cover up my beautiful Iraville artwork in here, but I'm okay with that. I mean, I can still see this and enjoy it, so it's fine, and I still have this. But I wanted to try this just because it's completely different. And while this Hobonichi Weeks is still thin, you know, during the first half of this year or so, I thought that this would be a really great cover to keep it in, because the Hobonichi Weeks is still low profile for me. And so I thought it would be really neat to have a really low profile cover for it. And when this thing bulks up, then I'm thinking about just transferring it to my Chic Sparrow cover, because then I can close it with the elastic band and kind of keep everything in there. Because I'm putting a lot of stickers and washi and all kinds of things in here, so I know it's going to bulk up. So I feel like I can enjoy this during the first half of the year and then enjoy my Chic Sparrows in the second half once this is bulky. But I was really concerned about being able to have a place to put my pen in here, because this is an everyday carry for me. So this is always in my purse, and I just really need to be able to have it be like a closed system that contains everything I need. And so I was really trying to figure out how to include my pen in here. So, I mean, obviously I went with the tried and true, just binder clip and then just putting my pen clip in it. And what I originally did was I had the binder clip in here, and I just slipped my pen on to the outside edge of it like this. And it does that. And when it's banging around in my bag, I just really thought that that wasn't going to fly. It was just, that was going to be knocked out and in a heartbeat. So what I did instead was, I don't know why I didn't think about this like any other time, but there's enough space on this edge here that I don't have to clip my pen to the outside. I can just turn it in and use this edge. So I tried that, and just magically it works to where it goes past the cover of the Hobonichi and then kind of sits really like perfectly against the Hobonichi pages there. And it just so happens that it keeps the pen pretty much out of view. So I just fell in love with this setup. Like, I thought this was going to feel like one of those iffy setups where it's not completely perfect, but it'll do. But once I figured that out, my feelings were just, yes, this is contentment. I absolutely love having this kind of brand new, different setup than my Chic Sparrow setup. So I just love having this other option. And what this is just a notebook that I cut down to week size. This is just Tomoe River paper, and it's just something that I had on hand. And what I did was I get a lot of appointment cards and like business cards, and I like to have a place for them, and I was using the cover on cover for my pen storage and to house all of the like business cards and things that I like to keep on me. So not only does this notebook serve as a place to hold my pen, but I cut down some Target Dollar Spot sticky pockets and I put them in here, and these hold my business cards and things. So I don't really need this paper. So what I'm thinking is that I may just take some of the black cardstock that I have and make it into a folder that slips into this pocket where I can clip my pen loop to it, and then it has built-in pockets for all of the cards that I need. And I think that would just be a perfect accompaniment to this setup. But right now my Hobonichi Weeks is so thin that this extra paper doesn't provide any bulk at all. And I just love how this has rounded out and is filled out. I love how just the cover closes so nicely because the, leather is so thin and malleable. It's not going to like spring open. It's just going to do whatever you want it to do, and it just flops over so nicely. And this kind of redefines the term floppy for me, because this is just, this is quite unique. I don't have any other leathers that behave this way or that have, this exact same characteristic. So it is just fabulous. I'm really, really happy that I finally have my first Sojourners. And this one has that same design structure where it has the thinner or the skinnier full-length pocket here and the thicker one on the right side. And this one has the card pocket vertically. I get so confused because I'm like, this is a horizontal cut, but you put it in vertically, right? So there you go. And then it has, the circular cutouts on both ends to protect the leather. I have carried this on the go with me already, and I kind of wanted to wait until I did that because I was worried about, I'll just stick this back on here. I was worried about not having a belly band on this, an elastic closure, because being in my bag, I just didn't know how much I was relying on that to keep everything together. So I wanted to carry this around and see if it would actually be functional for me. And I've carried this out of the house multiple times, and I've had to actually whip this out on the go to make appointments while I was at appointments. So it's been fantastic. I was really, really surprised by that. I thought that would be an issue, that this was not able to be shut. And I'm really surprised. Like, I don't have any words. Like, this worked really, really well in my bag. So I was really, really happy to find that out. So now I can just enjoy this with complete abandon, right? So I'm so happy to finally have these. I know so many of you out there have been Sojourner fans for years, and I'm finally happy to be able to experience what you've experienced. All the hype is real, I believe. I am not let down at all. I've not been disappointed. I've been so happy to discover all of the little things that make this such a quality product. Oh, and then as far as sealing the stitching, she does that very daintily. It's just right here in the middle on the bottom. It's done very nice and clean. There's 2 seals. The thread is cut in 2 different places and then sealed quite nicely. I don't know if that's gonna pick up at all right there. And it's so well done, and there's nothing that's like hanging out, nothing in the way, nothing poking out. And I'm just so happy with it. It is everything that everybody said it was. And let me know if you have a Mizpah. I think this leather is so unique. One of my kids saw this and they hated it and said it was scary looking. And I mean, I get it. They said it really creeped them out. And so anytime I have one of these on hand and they see it, they're like, oh, scary notebook. So obviously I won't be passing these notebooks down to that kid, but I think the pattern on these are just absolutely beautiful. I think that the pattern on this one, it actually reminds me of neurons. You know, the way it is when you've seen like pictures of neurons firing in your brain and stuff. Like, that's just what it looks like to me. And I think that's so cool. I do love both of them so much. And I'm hoping to be in this one at least for the entire 2019. I would love to be able to do that. And like I said, this one I will be switching out with my Chic Sparrow as soon as this looks like it's getting much too bulky to be contained in this. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for suggesting the Sojourner brand to me, and for like keeping on suggesting the Sojourner brand, because it's always been on my radar because you guys are always mentioning it. And I finally have my own, and I'm so glad. And thanks to you guys, I am now able to enjoy these. I hope you guys are enjoying your new notebooks for 2019. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.